able to depict a scene for Urianger like that, and Yoshida himself was very, very particular about that scene, so he would try to tweak it many times, but each time he would review, gosh, he would get teary every time he had to review.
あと1個挙げるんだったら、まあ、これもエンドウォーカーですけど、エルピスのシナリオが終わって、まあ、戻ってくるときにベーネスの歩みのカットシーンかな。
And then also the one more scene that pops to mind is also from Endwalker, but right after you finish the arc while you're in Elpis, and then when you return, and then you see that sort of path of Vana.
あそこはなんだろう、ちょっと皆さんとは受け取り方がちょっと違うのかもしれないですけど、自分自身 Q14 から担当することになって、まあ、一歩一歩いろんなことがありつつこう歩いてきてようやくここまで来たなっていうやっぱり感想はあるんで、なんとなくベーネスのこう歩んでる姿になんとなくね自分たちが重なるような気もするんで、あのシーンもダメですね。
And I'm sure everybody had their own sort of interpretation when Vana goes through that. I believe it's the scene where she's walking when she's like really muddy and then she's walking through and very gritty. And for the developers who worked on the original Final Fantasy XIV, they had their memories of the steps that they had to take to get through the rebirth and relaunch of the game. And so we kind of overlapped and then looked at Vana in it was as if we were seeing through her eyes as well.
あんまり喋ってると泣いちゃうから次行こう。
But yeah, if Yoshida keeps talking, he's gonna start crying. So let's move on.
Next.
All right, this is a more fun one. What is your favorite location or zone, or one that's left an impression on you over the past 10 years?
これは何年経ってもエオルゼアスタートの3都市がやっぱり一番お気に入りです。
Favorite location? It's got to be the 3 starting city-states of Eorzea.
まあなんでかっていうと、まあ僕はプロデューサー兼ディレクターで、まあエクスパンションもそうだし、パッチもたくさん作ってるんですけど、3都市のやっぱりエーテライトのそばにいると。やっぱベテランの光の選手の皆さんがねこう走ってこうパッチの日だとこうみんな一斉にログインしてきて一斉にいろんなところへこう走っていったり若葉マークをつけてこうキョロキョロしている人たちがいたりとかやっぱりすごくこの世界を作ってきてよかったなと思える場所なのでこの3都市はいつも自分のキャラ座らせてたりしますね。
So the reason why is, as producer and director, developing the different expansion packs as well as the patch releases, you'd see the different types of players. He would just have his characters sit at one of the Aetherites in the 3 city-states, and you would see, like, if it's a patch release date, all of your veteran players are logging in all at the same time, rushing to get whatever content they want to get done very quickly, or you see some sprouts looking around like, oh, everything is so new. But it makes us really grateful, and it's just it's so worthwhile to see people enjoying the world that the developers had created. And so yeah, Yoshida just leaves his character there by the Aetherite, just kind of watch people.
Yep, he
大体会社に行って仕事中もログインしてるときは3都市で大体皆さんをこうチラチラ見てたりします。
He would have a PC on in the background as he worked, and he would have his character logged in and sitting by the Aetherite.
なのであれですね、昼間から日本時間の昼間から3都市でまあいつもあんまり動いてないキャラいた僕かもしれないです。
So if you happen to see a character that's not really moving and it's in one of the city states, 3 starting city states, it might be Yoshida.
I think that Limsa Laminsa has left an impression on a lot of us.
Limsa 結構印象的ですかね。Limsa 結構印象的ですかね。
いや、リムサはね、人が多いんで。
Wow.
But Limsa Laminsa is so crowded all the time.
あえていっぱいいるなと思ったらね、他行くようにしてます。
If it's too many people, Yoshida tends to want to go to another city state. Sorry.
Maybe safer that way. Okay.
なるほど。
let's go on to the next one. What was the most difficult decision to make regarding expansion development after A Realm Reborn's launch?
これは毎回の拡張に言えることですけど、どうやってこう皆さんに驚いてもらうか、サプライズをどう作るかっていうところは毎回その難しいですね。
So this applies to any expansion actually, but it's always a challenge to bring about like a surprising element for our players. Like how do we deliver a new kind of surprise with each of our expansion?
まあ例えばヘブンズワードだと、粒子戦争、竜と人のこう歴史が分かると思いつつ、なんかこう最終ステージ行くとね、大陸が出てきたりとか。
For example, in Heaven's Word, you would have this Dragon Song War, this millennial battle between humans and dragons. But then after you've kind of accomplished all that, you realize there's another conflict with the floating continent of Azizla.
ストーンブラッドだとアラミゴを助けに行くのかなと思ってたらいきなりこう東方にも行ったりとか。
And then in Stormblood, you would think, oh, we're headed to Alamigo, but then you realize, no, we're going even further east.
シャドーブリンガーズだとね、光の戦士ではなく闇の戦士になって、しかも第一世界に行くっていう驚きだったり。
And then in Shadowbringers, you've been fighting as the warrior of light, but you're suddenly now hailed as the warrior of darkness. And then you have this brand new realm of the first.
エンドウォーカーであればね、月が最終目的地かなと思いきや、おいどこまで行くんだみたいな、そういったサプライズがやっぱりゲームというかエンターテインメント、ストーリーとしては必要だと思っているので、それをやっぱりゲーム体験としてどう作っていくかっていうところはすごく難しい。判断というよりもやっぱり作るのがまず難しいですかね。
And of course, with Endwalker, we thought that the moon was going to be our final destination, but we went even further to the outer limits of the universe. And so that kind of surprise element, I believe, is quite a challenge with each expansion, and in that sort of sense of entertainment and the gameplay experience that we bring with each expansion is definitely difficult. It might not be like a difficult decision to make, but it was always a challenge.
7.0 もうね、あーってなってるだから。
And I know we're anticipating for a 7.0 release, and I'm sure we're going to have moments where we're just going to go, ah!
No pressure, no pressure. All right. All right, next question. Looking forward to the 10th anniversary, have any events or developments been particularly memorable or surprising?
Be really hard to beat. I have no idea what they're going to pull out of their ass.
これはちょっと何回かお話ししてると思うんですけど、やっぱり一番は2014年の初めてファンフェスティバルをやったラスベガスのファンフェスがやっぱり一番僕にとってはその印象に残ってます。
So you might have heard this story before, but I believe this was 2014 when we first did our fan festival series, and it was like the very, very first in Las Vegas.
でちなみにそのファンフェス行った人います？
By the way, I know it's a West Coast event, but like, was anybody there at that first fan festival in 2014 Las Vegas?
This is a hand.
いる。
Nice.
Dude.
ありがとう。
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
いやあの時はですね、前日のレジストレーションのラインがですね、レジストレーションのなんか機械が故障してすごい長蛇の列になったんですよ。あの時は本当すいませんでした。
So at that time, we had some technical difficulties with the registration equipment, and so I remember there was like a very long wait or like a long line that was forming. So apologies for the inconvenience that was caused.
ただその、あまりにも待機列数が長くなっているので、吉田さんちょっと謝りに出てほしいですって当時のね PR チームに言われて、で外出たんですけど、ものすごい拍手と歓声をもらって、ちょっと本当にびっくりしたのが記憶に残ってます。
And so we were worried because the lines were so long, registration was not moving along. So our PR manager decided, Yoshida-san, would you mind coming out and just apologizing, yeah, just greeting our guests that are waiting in line. And so I went out, he went outside and he was welcomed by applause and cheers. It was just so incredible. He was blown away by the warm welcome.
で翌日のその最初のファンフェスの基調講演でステージに上がった時もものすごい拍手と歓声で、自分がこうゲームを作ってきてそれが、こんなにもたくさんの人に喜んでもらえてるんだっていうのをものすごく感じさせてもらったので、めちゃくちゃ印象に残ってます。
And so the next day was when we did the FanFest keynote stage. And so when I stepped up and got to the stage, then again was the applause and cheers. It was so encouraging. And so it really sunk in that this game that we were making had reached so many people and had made many people happy. So that was very memorable for me.
ちなみにあまりにもすごい歓声で緊張しちゃって足が震えてひどかったんですよ。
By the way, it was such a nervous experience. Like everybody was so excited and they were cheering and it was just so much enthusiasm that I got nervous and so my knees started shaking and I was up there on stage trembling.
しかも90分の予定だったのにあまりにもね緊張して焦って早口で喋ったら60分で終わっちゃって。
And I was allocated 90 minutes to do the keynotes, and I was so nervous, and so I spoke so fast that my 90-minute program became 60 minutes.
Yeah, we had to kind of adjust on the fly for that one.
I've been there. I think we've all been
で
there.
終わった後さ、やっと後ろでこうタバコ吸いながらバーって SNS 見たら短いってなって。
And once the stage was over and I went to go take a smoke break and I was double checking what people were saying on social and I was like, oh no, everybody's saying it's too short.
でも本当に皆さんの声援にはね、本当感謝してます。ありがとうございます。
But again, we're so appreciative of everybody's enthusiasm and just your cheers and your applause was very much appreciated. Thank you.
ありがとうございます。Thank you.
All right, I'm going to read this as it was submitted, but then we'll maybe flip it around. So what would Naoki Yoshida from 10 years ago say to the current Naoki Yoshida?
え？
一旦提出された状態で読みましたけれども、おかしかったら
ちょっと待って。
逆にしても。
10年前の自分が今の俺に言う。
Wait. So me from 10 years ago is supposed to say something to me now?
だって10年前の自分10年後生きてないかもしれないじゃんだって。
But who would know that I would still be alive 10 years later?
だって10年前ってQ14 のアップデートしながら申請作ってた頃だから10年続けるつもりではいたけど14俺の寿命は10年持たないなと思ってたもんだってあの時。
But like 10 years ago, we were just so frantic to reboot Final Fantasy XIV from its original state. And so, I mean, of course, we had the intent to keep going for at least 10 years. But I mean, at that time, I was like, will I even live this next 10 years?
今僕今年50歳なんですけど、60歳になった時に、まだ生きてるんだとしたらちゃんとスノーボード今も60歳でも滑れてますかって聞いてみたいかな。
And but yeah, that aside, if I were to say something for the 10 years in the future, I mean like to the Naoki Yoshida 10 years into the future. So right now, I'm about 50 years old now. So what I would want to say to the 60-year-old me, or ask him, are you still healthy? Are you still enjoying snowboarding sometimes?
まあもちろんね、14は
Such
続
a
けてると思いますの
wholesome
で、これからもよろしくお願いします。
But I think 14, Final Fantasy 14 will still keep on going. So yeah, your support would be appreciated.
Let's go. 10 more years.
All right. Do you have a favorite memory of FF14 from a gameplay perspective?
あ
Good question.
あ
Very good
いや一番、まあたくさんあるんですけど、やっぱりこう僕のプライベートキャラって当然ですけど中身が吉田だっていうのはバレてないので、いろんなプレイヤーと一緒にこうレイド行ってやっぱりこう霊式とかクリアできた時っていうのは、まあ、毎回思い出には残りますよね。
Favorite, like one favorite memory? That's kind of difficult. So, I mean, there's many that I can choose from, but let's see. My private character, of course, nobody knows that I'm actually Yoshida playing while I'm using my private character. So I get the opportunity to play with various different people. And so we would go on different raids. Sometimes we might take on the challenge of doing a savage raid. And it's really exciting to be able to get through some of those challenging content.
やっぱり最近こう自分あまりにもめちゃくちゃ忙しいので、なんていうの固定を組むみたいなのもちょっとできてないので、最近はもうとにかく空いた時間にパーティー募集で行くので、本当にランダムにいろんな人とこう挑戦するんですけど、やっぱりいろんなエピソードがあるんでめちゃくちゃ面白いですね。
And recently I've been very busy, so I don't have like a static that I go into with different raids. So I would just literally go to Party Finder and group up with people. So it's very random, the people I meet. But there's so many different like happenings and episodes that I encounter when I go through different content.
まああれですね、
Party Finder.
霊式とかで黒魔同士ですげえところに黒魔門出してずっと粘ってあげく攻撃食らって死んでたやつがいた吉田かもしれないです。
If you're in some savage content and you see a black mage and you see them place their ley lines in a very weird place and refuse to move from those ley lines, that might be Yoshida.
Yeah, he
まあこれ以上
definitely eats
思い
AoEs.
出の中身を話すとバレるんで、このぐらいにしといてください。
But I think I'm going
No
to
way he
keep
doesn't.
from talking about too much about my private character because you might find out.
Yeah, no more hints.
Next!
What are some elements from the Final Fantasy series that you haven't been able to include that you'd like to get to in the next 10 years? Please say Damaska. We need more of Matsuno's Ivalice arc.
まあこれから発売するね、当然16もね、何かできたらなと思いますし、そういう意味だとファイナルファンタジー2とか、それからファイナルファンタジー9とかはぜひね。
Well, I mean, Final Fantasy 16 is coming out soon. It would be nice to kind of look into. Final Fantasy 2 is a great game too, as is 9.
And give
あ
me some
と
Final
は
Fantasy
あれですね、ファイナルファンタジー7リメイクシリーズがしっかり全部リリースできて、7リメイクチームが開発落ち着いたら7とも何かやらせてもらいたいなとは思ってます。
And also, I know we are going to be releasing another installment in the Final Fantasy VII Remake series, and I'm hoping that once they have been able to release all of what they need to do, and the team has had a chance to kind of slow down and take it a little bit more easy, I would love the opportunity there as well.
まあもちろんね、イバリースもそうだし、
Sick.
ね、バナディールもあるからね。
And then, of course, as this person mentions, we have the Ivalice realm, but then also we have the Vanadil realm.
Next!
Oh, that's definitely coming up soon.
All right, since Dad of Light released on Netflix, has there been a considerable increase in parent warriors of light, ages 50 to 70, as well as players sharing stories with you about their parents, joining them on their adventures? This was actually submitted by someone who said that they wanted to bring their mother here to PAX.
質問者の方は親御さんと一緒にパックスに来たいって
来てる。
言って、あ、イエーイ。いらっしゃってる。
Don't cry.
泣かないで。
いやまあ実際その光のお父さんが配信されてからっていうのももちろんあって、こう親子で14をプレイしてます、またプレイを始めましたっていうケースは本当に世界中からご報告いただくようになりました。
Yeah, of course, with the Dad of Light being streamed on Netflix is definitely an opportunity. But also, even before then, I've heard of stories about how, oh, I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV with my parents, or my mom or dad got interested in playing with me.
あとはその、まあ、今もねちょっとマスクしてますけど、そのこのコロナ禍の中で、まあ、なかなかこうリアルで遠くに住んでる家族とか兄弟とか会えないっていう状態が続いている時にエオルゼアの中でコミュニケーションを取ることによってなんとかコロナを乗り切りましたとかいろんなその逆にまあコロナだったからこそゲームの中エオルゼアの中でこう絆を深められましたって言ってくださるお手紙とかも本当に今回たくさんいただいたので、開発チーム一同で本当に作っててよかったなと思ってたエピソードたくさんありますね今。
And of course, right now, of course, we're reminded because we're wearing masks, but with the whole COVID situation, I'm sure there were a lot of families that weren't able to gather in person. So they utilized Eorzea to kind of meet up and communicate with each other. And I know of people who have mentioned that they were able to communicate with their family and friends in Eorzea, and so that's what got them over like the stresses of the pandemic. And certain people kind of strengthened their bonds, or they became closer because they were able to communicate even with the pandemic. And there are various reports and letters that we received from players. And so the development team, when they receive it, they're really happy and very grateful for all those people who share their stories. And we're just so thankful and we're very humbled that people have had such wonderful experiences.
まあ質問くださった方はお母さんと娘さんっていうことなんですけど、同じようにというかその非課線2人でプレーをしてたんですけど、子供が生まれて小さな光の戦士が増えましたっていうご報告もねたくさんいただいてるんで、ネクストジェネレーションもしっかり育っていってるなと思ってます。
And of course, the person who sent in the question is here with her mom, and it's a daughter-mom combo, but also in the same way, we have Warriors of Light who are couples and they have children, and there are reports of like, oh, we now have a little Warrior of Light in our household, and so we're so excited, like we're getting the next generation
into the game. Let's go. Start them
All right,
young.
here we go. Will you do a Final Fantasy XIV, Final Fantasy XVI crossover?
There's no way he doesn't. There's literally no way he doesn't.
僕は、ファイナルファンタジー14のプロデューサー兼ディレクターなので。
So I am the producer and director of Final Fantasy XIV.
もちろんやれるんだったらやりたいなとは思ってます。
And of course, if there was the opportunity, if there were the opportunity, I would love to. I would love to.
ただほら一人では決められないので。
But I can't decide just all on my own.
まあファイナルファンタジー16のプロデューサーにやってもいいですかってやらせてもらえませんかってまず聞かないとダメだと。
So that means I will have to go to the producer of Final Fantasy XVI and ask him, may I please?
Please do that. Please, Yoshi, please.
なんか噂によるとそのファイナルファンタジー16のプロデューサーも PAX に来てるみたいなので。
But I've heard rumors this producer of Final Fantasy XVI is going to be at PAX too.
なので後で会ったらちょっと聞いてみますね。
So if I see him later, I will definitely ask.
Okay, next.
They definitely should meet. Yep.
We'll cross our fingers for that one. So, which Final Fantasy titles are your personal favorites? Choose wisely,
I think
because
he's gonna say 4.
まずはファイナルファンタジー3ですね。
First and foremost, Final Fantasy III.
なぜかというと、ファイナルファンタジーシリーズの初期の頃に、バトルシステムもジョブシステムもある意味 FF というもののこうシステムが最初に完成した1本目っていうのがファイナルファンタジー3だっていうふうに感じてるからです。
And so the reason why is that as a Final Fantasy series title, I feel that with Final Fantasy III, this is the Japanese Final Fantasy III, not the North American release, which is, sorry,
Yeah.
that's, sorry,
The whole
I'm
thing.
inserting my personal thing now. So the battle system, the job system, anything that we recognize now as elements of Final Fantasy, I believe was first kind of finalized in that Final Fantasy III, and it was finally like complete.
あとは3が初代ファイナルファンタジー14のプロデューサー、11の初代プロデューサーでもある田中宏道さんの作品なので、宏道さんに尊敬の意味も込めて14の中に3のこうオマージュ要素が多いのはその辺がやっぱり強く出てるかなとは思います。
And of course, with Final Fantasy III, our first or initial director of Final Fantasy XIV, and of course Final Fantasy XI, Mr. Hiromichi Tanaka was the director for those titles, or producer for that title. And so I respect him a lot. So that's why you may see a lot of homage paid to Final Fantasy III within the Final Fantasy XIV as well.
あともう一本はやっぱり7がそうですね。
And then another Final Fantasy series title would be Final Fantasy VII is definitely a favorite.
やっぱ7もその
I think that's my
2回目の
personal favorite.
FF の完成形かなと。グラフィックスクオリティ、それからストーリー、ゲームのボリューム、
Yes, 7 was great.
ミニゲームがたくさんっていうところもそうだし、本当に MMORPG かのようなとてつもないパワーを感じるゲームだったので、7は3の次はやっぱり7が改めて FF がまた完成したタイミングだったかなと思ってるんで、やっぱ上げるとしたら僕は3と7ですね。
And with Final Fantasy VII, it was another moment I felt that it was a complete sort of package of Final Fantasy, where the graphics quality was dramatically changed, the play volume or like the amount of gameplay that you get from the game was a lot more, and then we have various mini games, and so it almost felt like an MMORPG, and it just had that sort of power and strength in that game. So
I think
yeah,
7
I think my
came
personal
with like
favorites would be
3
definitely
discs
3,
or
and
something,
then 7
like
would
4
be
discs. It's a
when
huge
Final
game.
Fantasy had sort of completed its sort of it came as like a complete package.
All right. If you were releasing FF14 for the first time into the MMO market now in 2023, what would that game be like?
今
Now, like literally now.
いやわかんないな。 F2P として一回ゲームデザインは考えるんじゃないかな。でも
I'm not sure. Like, if we're doing it in the modern market now, we might need to like look at how would game design work. Would it be free to play and then develop the game in that kind of design?
No,
ただ
please
やっ
no.
ぱ FF である以上は絶対にこう今14でやってるようにテレビドラマシリーズのようにこうストーリーが続いていき、プレイヤーの皆さんは光の戦士であり、世界を救う
I do not want a battle
冒険を
pass in Final
その物語
Fantasy
を
I'm
その手
sorry,
で
but-
プレイするっていうところ多分変わんないと思います。これは。
That said, of course, being a Final Fantasy title, like we would want to deliver like story and drama like you would maybe like a TV series, or we'd have to have our Warrior of Light, which is the player, and then it would be a narrative about saving the world.
あとは多分フィールド PK もないと思うんだよね。
And I don't think I would allow for PKing on the field.
いやでも多分ハウジングはあるでしょ。
Of course, we'd have to have housing.
いやあんまり変わんないんじゃないかな、もしかして。
I mean, if we look at it that way, it might not really change much.
わかんないな、真剣に考えたことはないな。
Yeah, I wouldn't be so sure. Like, I've never really gave it too much of a thought.
だって今 F2P って言うとさ、なんか14プレイヤーみんなはあって言いそうじゃない。だって
Like, say if we release a game or like this game as free to play now, like I think players would question it. Like they'd be like, "What?"
Yeah, I do not
そ
want
んな気
that.
がするから難しいよ。
Yeah. So it is a tough question.
だってハウジングアイテムが一個一個あれでしょ、全部現金ですって言ったら嫌でしょみんな。
Like, say the game might be free to play, but then you have to pay for each housing furnishing put on your estate. Like, I don't think anybody would like that,
めっちゃみんな首振ってる
I
もん
don't
ね。
wanna-
right?
Box,
You guys are
I don't
shaking
want
your
any
heads
of that
no.
It's like the whole audience was
Yeah.
like shaking their head. It was really weird.
まあ今ぐらいの形が一番いいのかなとは思ってますね。
So yeah, I think we have it just right now.
All right. Since the release of Endwalker, we've seen the dev team discuss more frequently about the 10-year future of FF14. What future project are you personally most excited about?
Most excited.
Most excited.
まあやっぱりこれは今そのアーティストたちとエンジニアたちがものすごい力をかけて開発している第一次グラフィックスアップデートはぜひ期待してほしいし、僕自身も期待をしてます。
I think I would like to mention our artists and engineers are really working hard to get this to happen with our first graphics update. That's something we're really looking forward to and very excited about.
Me too.
ちょうどこの PAX に出てくる前に、ファンフェス前の
I just wonder if it's going to be a substantial
中
change
間確
from
認
that.
をちょうどやってたんです
Like, are we actually
け
gonna be
ど、
able
かな
to
り
see
いろんな
difference?
そのまあ綺麗になるっていうのはもちろんそうなんですけど、綺麗になるだけじゃないことっていうのもたくさんプレイヤーの皆さんが喜んでもらえるものをいろいろ用意しているので、まあまずはそこかなと思います。
And of course, we are currently working hard at it. So right before I left for PAX, we were doing like this midway review right before FanFest. And of course, with the graphics update, we want to strive to deliver better looking graphics, of course. But I think there are elements that we're working on that is part of that update. That's not just the sort of immediate like aesthetical aspects of it. So we're really excited about what we can deliver for this.
Okay. When will we see the new Flame General, Pippin Tarapin, in action and learn more about him? We adventured with him a lot in Stormblood, and he's filling Raban's place in Ulda. I want to see him grow as a character too. Wow, there's a lot of Pippin fans.
A lot of
ピピ
Pippin
ンのフ
love.
ァンが結構いますね。
いますね。ピピンはですね、ラウバーンってすごくこう激高する
I
か
like Pippin.
なんだろう、叫んでるか戦ってるかみたいな人じゃないですか。
So with Raoban, first of all, you typically see him very angry and like very emotional and always shouting or always fighting, right?
ただよく考えてみると、サカツ州として政治をやっていかなきゃいけないわけですよ、本来。
But also, he needs to look at the government of Ulda as well.
なのでピピンは今ナナモ陛下を支えて一生懸命そのウルダ派っていう国を、まあ、よりその高いレベルの国にしてかつ世界中がこう一つにまとまっていくための、まあ、多分政治的な動きをすごく一生懸命ねもらった剣はね背中に刺したまま政治を今頑張ってるんじゃないかなって気がします。
But on the other hand, Pippin is more strategic, I guess, in trying to oversee the government within Ulda. So I think he's working alongside the Sultana to see and make sure that the land is more the government is functioning correctly, and as the world is kind of coming together, he would need to oversee like those elements as well. So he would have the sword that was given to him, of course, sheathed in his back, but he would also be looking at the political side of things as well.
ただまあ光の戦士がまた何かしらのピンチになった時にはきっと真っ先にねその剣を抜いてティソーナを抜いてね駆けつけてくれるんじゃないかなと思ってますので、でもなんか楽しみにしてくださいって言うとさ、なんか光の戦士ピンチになるのかって話になっちゃうし難しいね。
And I'm sure Pippin really wants to support the Warrior of Light. So whenever the Warrior of Light comes into some kind of pinch or like some kind of tight spot, I'm sure he'll take his Tizona and come to the rescue or try to at least help the Warrior of Light. But if I say, well, look forward to an episode like that, I worry that people will start to assume, oh no, what's going to happen to the Warrior of Light now?
Makes sense. All right, it has been 10 years since ARR released, and I still want to know more about the Heart of Savvy. Are there more plans to delve into it? Please say yes.
これはですね 100% 全てとは言わないですけど、間もなくこのサビクのエピソードが語られますので、何とは言わないですけど、これはもう楽しみにしててください。
We might not delve 100% into it, but we do anticipate having some like narrative that involves discussion of the Heart of Savik. I'm not going to say what in particular, but just look forward to it.
Near future.
Near future.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Maybe then we'll stop getting this question on the forums. That'll be nice.
フォーラムで回答していくことになるのか。
All right. I think this is our final question. No, maybe. Yeah, final question. What is your personal aim for Final Fantasy XIV for the next 10 years, whether in gameplay, story, or as an MMO in general?
そうですね。
Give us more housing, please, Yoshi. I want more housing.
個人的な目標か。
Personal goal, right?
まあやっぱ14はそうは言ってもライフワークではあるけどやっぱ仕事でありビジネスではあるからあんまり個人的な目標っていう感じではないですかね。
I mean, I do mention that Final Fantasy XIV is my life's work, but at the same time, it is, well, work, and it is a business. So it might not tie necessarily into, like, my personal.
例えばですけど、今、ファイナルファンタジー14をまだその十分に展開できてない国にやっぱり物理サーバーを立てて、よりいいレーテンシーで遊んでもらいたいとか、対応できてない言語にやっぱり対応していきたいとか。
For example, with Final Fantasy XIV, I know there are certain regions that don't have like full support. So, for example, like setting up a physical data center so that we don't have to worry too much about latency trying to connect to like somewhere that's too far away, or there are certain languages that are not supported. So it would be nice if we could start working on looking into some of those.
あと例えば対応プラットフォームを増やしたいとか。
Otherwise, platforms, there's still certain platforms that we don't have the game on.
あとまあこれは結構大変ですけど、すべてのワールドをこう一つの世界につなげて、こう誰とでもパーティーを組めてみたいなことは考えたりはしますね。
Boggles my mind. There's
and
no
then another
Spanish.
thing would be, and this would be quite an undertaking, but trying to connect all the different like regions so that no matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to sync up and party up with other players.
ただやっぱりここまでその10年以上にわたってこう結局こう一つ一つ1パッチ1パッチ1システム1システムこう積み上げてここまでやってきたので、それは変わらずにこれからもコツコツエンドウォーカーで1回目の物語の終焉というのは迎えましたけど、また大きな驚きのある そのラストっていうのに向かって一個ずつこう積み上げていくのがやっぱり遠いようで一番の近道かなとは思います。
That said, we've been running the game for over 10 years at this point, but each time it's one step forward. You know, it's with each system, it would be a little incremental improvement that we make, or the different elements that we're kind of building up upon one another. And so with Endwalker, of course, narrative-wise, we've kind of reached a sort of conclusion, but we still want to deliver surprising and exciting story. And I think just continuing to build on that, it seems like a long way to go, but I think that might actually be the closest way to get there.
あとそれなりに近い、それなりに近い 7.x ぐらいではね、ハウジングアイテムの設置数を増やすっていうね目標もありますし。
And something in the can I say near future on this? We're thinking 7.x series. We would love to look into increasing the number of furnishings you can place in your estate.
今頑張ってますんで、
We're working
今
really
頑張
hard.
ってますんで、もうちょっとお待ちください。
It'll be a bit of a wait, but
まあでも今のもそうですけど、やっぱり一つ一つの積み重ねがね、ファイナルファンタジー14をここまで大きくしてきてくれたと思ってます。
But yeah, I mean, even now, everything is just building upon the different blocks that we're laying down, and that's how Final Fantasy XIV has gotten as big as it has. So I think we just want to keep going.
でもだからこそ皆さんともこうやって少しずつね、その一歩一歩のなんだろう積み重ねによって信頼関係っていうのを結べてきたと思ってます。
But also, I think we are building upon the things that we have put into the game, but then we love the communication that we have with our players, and I think you guys are a big part of the steps that we're taking to put more things into the game, and I feel like this communication has built up a trust between the developers and the players.
まあなので今目標1個思いついた。10年後もこの PAX イーストで皆さんまたお会いしましょう。
Oh, and that kind of gave me an idea for my personal goal. 10 years from now, I would love to be back at PAX East and be able to see you guys again.
How wholesome.
Okay, well that concludes our Q&A, but we did mention we would talk about Puma one more time. We do have something fun for you, so if we can bring those house lights down, you know. Oh, fancy.
Again. Oh, no. Look at the chat. Oh my gosh. Chat is just laughing.
I think my goal is to have those Estinian legs to, you know, someday have that physique, you know. But yeah, as we mentioned, you know, the Final Fantasy XIV and Puma collab we've teamed up to create a special collaboration of footwear, apparel, and accessories. You may have seen we have an area near the entrance to the show floor that actually has some of the different outfits on the different mannequins. So we also have some standees there, so you can take your picture with our three heroes here. Make sure you do. You can compare your legs to Estinians whenever you want. And of course, as it mentions here, the collection actually releases on March 25th, so tomorrow. So keep an eye out. So what time tomorrow is you know, keep an eye on the website and make sure you guys get your, is it drip they call it? Drip? Get your drip. Thank you, drip. Okay, got it. Make sure you get that. And but yeah, we're really excited for you guys to check it out, and we hope you guys enjoy it. And one more thing, if you have been following the Square Enix social channels, you may have seen we are doing giveaways and sweepstakes that you can sign up for to win some prizes, including some autographed stuff from Yoshida-san. So make sure you enter that. The secret panel word is Torgal. So make sure you got it. So make sure you use that for more entries on the sweepstakes. And let's have Yoshida-san, one final comment.
冒頭にも言いましたが、いよいよ新生今年で10周年を迎えます。改めて、ファイナルファンタジー14ここまで来れたのは本当に世界中でねプレーをしてくださっている光の戦士の皆さんのおかげです。本当にありがとうございます。
So I mentioned this at the beginning as well, but A Realm Reborn is going to be celebrating its 10th anniversary this year, and Final Fantasy XIV was not able to get this far without everybody's support. And so again, we want to thank all the Warriors of Light out there. Thank you so much.
またこれからもね、さっき約束した通り、10年後の PAX でお会いできるように頑張っていきますので、どうぞこれからもよろしくお願いします。
But yeah, we're going to continue to work hard, and I've made a promise with you guys. 10 years later, we'll be back at PAX, or we want to be back at PAX and see you guys again. So your support would be very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ah, ごめん。最後にもう一個。
Oh, sorry, one more thing.
明日ファイナルファンタジー16のプロデューサーがなんかステージあるらしいんでよろしければ応援してあげてください。
Oh yes, I forgot to mention. Tomorrow there will be a panel session with the producer of Final Fantasy XVI. So if you have the time, please.
よろしくお願いします。
All right, we'll see you there. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Wow. That was pretty cool. I liked it. They didn't really give us anything new, but that's fine. It was a cute little Q&A with Yoshi P. Who wouldn't want that? Is it over? Probably. I don't know if they're gonna stream anything else here. Well, thank you for everybody who stuck around. The 7 people here, so. I'm gonna stick around. I'll probably do some Shadowbringers in this too. Right now, we're gonna finish this dungeon. I've been playing through it in Game Plus. How is our tent dead again? Yeah, it looks like they ended it. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm really excited for FanFest because in FanFest we should be getting the next trailer for 7.0. Maybe a teaser. I think they saved the full one for Japan's FanFest. I'll be there. Yeah, I'll live stream on this floor. My phone or something. I've never actually done that before. So.
This is me, racing out of bed for a front row seat to my life's work vanishing before my eyes. Minus tech tips, deleted, tech linked, toasted, tech quickie, gone. The good news is that if you're watching this, we're back online. The bad news is that this kind of attack has become so commonplace on YouTube that when we sat down to prepare this video, it took us less than 10 seconds to find a huge channel that was dealing with exactly the same thing in that moment. Let's talk then about the motive for these attacks, the process changes that we and YouTube need to make, and how we can all work together as a community to educate and protect each other from bad actors. Oh, and to tell you about our sponsor, D-Brand. Oh God, not D-Brand. Today, really? Oh, actually no, they've got something good. Stay tuned. Fireworks started a little after 3 in the morning when the Linus Tech Tips account was renamed to Tesla and started streaming a podcast-style recording of self-proclaimed techno king Elon Musk discussing cryptocurrency. This in and of itself is not a scam, but the streams linked to a scam website that claimed that for every 1 Bitcoin you sent, they would return double, complete with fake transaction records showing other users definitely getting huge payouts. Over the next couple of hours then, we sparred back and forth. First, I privated the streams, revoked the channel stream key, and attempted to reset the account credentials, only to realize, as I was investigating the source of the breach, that I had been completely outmaneuvered. They were back in, and the streams were live again. Okay, so I logged back in, nuked the stream again, and I go to, and they're up again. And now videos are being mass deleted from the channel. Over the next couple of hours, playing login whack-a-mole, the Linus Tech Tips, Tech Linked, and Tech Quickie accounts were each used to host these Elon Musk crypto streams until they were ultimately nuked by YouTube altogether for violating YouTube's terms of service. And I can almost feel your thoughts through the screen right now.
Linus, truly, after all these lectures about two-factor authentication, don't you even protect your own accounts?
Of course I do, but while strong passwords and multi-factor authentication are very powerful security measures that you should use, they're not impenetrable. First up, let's talk 2FA. Not all factors or additional authentication elements are equally secure. The most common second factor, SMS, can be compromised by simple social engineering targeted at your phone carrier. Check out this video that we posted the last time our account was hijacked for more information about that. Another common factor, notification-based multi-factor, is susceptible to fatigue attacks, where a perpetrator will constantly try to log in, hoping that you'll assume, oh, it's probably someone from work, or even just click on the notification by accident. It's very problematic, and I'm looking at you, Google, since you can't disable this factor on Google accounts. Even time-based two-factor, like Google Authenticator or Authy, can be compromised, say if you were to accidentally set it up or access it from an infected device. In spite of all of these issues with two-factor, though, it held the line last night. Our attacker not only never gained access to our additional authentication factors, they never even had our passwords. But how can that be? Well, as it turns out, they didn't need any of that, which is a big part of why it took me so long to clue in and stop the spread. I was so focused on the potential damage that could be done by someone who had commandeered my SMS messages or gained access to my Google Authenticator somehow, that I expended valuable time battening down the wrong hatches. If I had watched Theo Joe's recent video on the subject, or at least skimmed the comments, I could have probably stopped the bleeding in a matter of minutes. Shout out Theo Joe. But I didn't, so I got to be educated the hard way about a breed of attacks that bypass trivial things like passwords and 2FA entirely by targeting what's known as a session token. Now, many of you will know this already, and if you do, give yourself a cookie. But after you log into a website and your credentials have been validated, that site will provide your web browser with a session token. This allows your browser, and by extension you, to stay logged in when you restart your browser and go to access that site again. This isn't a bad thing, it's a good thing, because realistically, nobody wants to type in a password every time they want to post instant regret on the internet. But hold on a second. That cookie is stored